All right, so good morning, everybody. This is Gary Hines from the Gary Hines Consulting Group. And today I'm interviewing a good business professional friend of mine, Hasan Ali, who is a sales navigator specialist who works in the business to business space. He also is a LinkedIn campaign builder, and Hasan's business is Atlas Capital Connection. So just so everybody knows, I've known Hasan now for about a year, and we did actually connect on LinkedIn. So I'm sure that'll come up in the conversation today. Good
That's
morning.
awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me, Gary. I appreciate it.
Certainly, certainly. All right, so I just gave folks a brief background of who you are. Why don't you give us a little more detail about your background and what you're currently doing?
Okay, sure. So when I originally started lead generation, it started with me selling real estate. In my office, I was bringing in a lot of leads, and people were trying to figure out how I was bringing in these leads. So what I was actually doing was, when most people were in the office waiting for phone calls or things of that nature, I would actually do some research online through Trend, and then I would go out into those areas and I would physically knock on people's doors to get information and just drum up conversation and things like that in order to connect with them. And after a while, some other agents started asking me to do it for them. So I essentially started to become more of a referral agent than an actual real estate agent. So I started working with teams of other real estate groups in order to bring in leads into the office. So one day someone told me, like, hey, you can do some of these things online. And to me, I had no idea that I was able to do the same things that I was going out physically doing, that I was able to do it online. And once I started doing it online, it just definitely just changed and shifted the whole dynamic of lead generation for me. I played around on different social media platforms. I was on Twitter for a little while, finding leads. I was doing Google ads, things of that nature, just trying to figure out what fits. And then I got to LinkedIn, and I started just going around there on LinkedIn and on Sales Navigator. And I said, okay, this is where I want to be. So that's where I just made the decision, and I stuck to LinkedIn and Sales Navigator.
Right, right. So it sounds like you got very, like, back in the early part of this, you got very hands-on. You were out there in the field, talking to people face to face. You were really out there, and that was kind of what you found to be your sweet spot.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That was my sweet spot.
Mhm.
Definitely just going out and meeting people and talking to them. And it kind of started to be a thing where some people would just reach out to me like, hey, do you know this guy? Or do you know that guy? And I'm like, yeah, I know him. Or let me look and see if I know someone similar to whatever you're looking for. And it just
Mhm.
kind of rolled into this whole lead generation thing. So it was very unexpected for me, but I'm
Yeah.
happy it happened.
Great, great. Well, it sounds like you're good at it, so that's a plus. So, um, so who would you say is your target customer or audience? Do you have anybody in particular that you kind of help out, or how do you go about that?
So I do like working with coaches, consultants, and agency owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs. I like to keep it liquid like that because it helps me to sharpen who I can find. Sometimes certain groups of people or certain targets become a little harder to find than others. So when I allow myself to be a little bit more open, I have found that it helps me to get better at what I do in lead generation.
Mhm. And you use LinkedIn primarily as that platform to find folks?
Yes, I use the sales navigator portion, which is actually quite ignored a lot. A lot of people use LinkedIn, but they never use the sales navigator portion. And it kind of amazes me because we go on the platform to find the people we're looking for, but sales navigator gives us all the information we need to try to find those people.
Yeah, so more people should take advantage of it. I know there's free trials that come out because I get them offered all the time, and I keep saying I'm going to jump on and get in Sales Navigator. I think it's a 30-day free trial, So I think I'm going to do
Mhm.
that at some point. I probably need to do it. But anyway, do you offer any training or guidance to people that are new to marketing, to lead generation? Like, and if you do, how do you do that kind of training and guidance for somebody?
Well, I don't necessarily offer any training, but I do offer some guidance, just enough to get them to the point where they're ready to like jump the hurdle and use Sales Navigator in order to find their clients.
Mhm, mhm,
One of the biggest things I do like to tell people is that if you have a LinkedIn company or your LinkedIn profile, if you're ever on Google and you type in your name or your business name, and then you put LinkedIn behind it, you show up on the first page. So it really
mhm,
shows you how powerful the platform is.
mhm. Yeah, that's good because again, I'm holding my hope out for LinkedIn to be my platform, going forward. The other social media platforms, I know that it's a lot of, you can pay for ads on Facebook. I guess you can pay for ads on Instagram and maybe I guess in Twitter as well. But I seem to think that LinkedIn is just more business focused to me. I associate those other platforms with social stuff, TikTok and all this craziness and stuff like that. So I'll, you know, I can't imagine putting a business ad on TikTok, for instance. It sounds like it wouldn't fit.
Yeah, well, it really depends on your customer base. Like if you're more B2C, then some of those avenues are better for you. But
Hmm,
if your
hmm.
business is more B2B, LinkedIn is the best place to be for that,
That's what I
in my
thought. Yeah.
opinion.
Okay. Okay. And what advice would you give a business owner or, an entrepreneur, just getting started with their business online and how they would, get in front of potential customers?
The very first thing I would say is think about who your target market is. And as you're building your profile and you're building your pages, just surround your page around whatever resonates best to them. So that way, when they see it, it makes sense.
Mhm,
It just, so like, let's say some people won't put a title under their name or they'll just put CEO. It's
mhm,
good that we know you're the CEO of the company, but what do you actually do, or what does it actually entail? What do you really handle? So if you put things like that in the mix, it really, really helps.
mhm,
Also, your background picture, your background, just the image alone can interpret a lot of what your company is based on what the person can see.
mhm. And those images and things, do you have suggestions for people to go to and find images, or you tell them to use something personal? I was told one time years ago, don't ever use a selfie that you've taken on any kind of professional platform like LinkedIn because it won't look right. It won't look good. So do you help people find images?
No, not personally.
Mhm,
I do know people that I do recommend for stuff like that,
mhm,
but I would say make it as personal as possible. I mean, I
mhm,
don't have a problem with it. I mean, the biggest thing is as long as what you're offering reach your target market, they really won't mind as long as it all syncs together.
mhm, mhm. Okay, that's good. All right. So, switching gears a little bit, what has the pandemic done to your business, and have you had to pivot in your strategy and approach? So, what we're going into year three now, I guess this is 2022. So, how's that
Mm.
affected you?
It's been very good and bad at the same time. And the reason why I say that it's bad for other people, but for me, it has helped me. Before COVID hit, it's times I had conversations with people and they told me that my business is more of a accessory than a
Mhm,
necessity.
mhm,
Because at that time you were able to go out to networking events. It was different ways of meeting people. Now with the pandemic, it's hard for people to get out. So now webinars are larger than what they ever have been.
mhm,
Networking groups are
mhm,
becoming bigger. So it has definitely helped me in a lot of ways than hurt me.
mhm. And the networking that is done online versus face to face, do you find that to be you know, as interactive as being like an event where there's, you know, 35, 40 people, and then and instead you got 35 or 40 people on the screen. You know, you're kind of looking, you know, kind of like the Brady, you know.
But you know what's funny about it is that I feel like it's starting to get so normal because when I see somebody on Zoom or we go to these networking events on Zoom, I can actually see someone's face without
Yeah,
a mask. I can
right.
actually engage with them versus when you're out on the street, you can see the hesitance on some people's face, like, you know, let's make sure we stay as far as way as possible, but that we
Hmm.
can still communicate. And
Yeah,
then you have the mask. So
right, right.
it's, you know, it makes it a little bit difficult. So it's just funny watching that play out how it is.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel that it's been a not a benefit in for health reasons and economic reasons, but it has been. I've been able to touch more people, I think, this way, and get a little bit more personal when I kind of see them like we're doing here face to face. Now, it would be hard for me to even interview you in a meeting space. Say we're, you know, at some networking event at night. It would be tough because, you know, the noise and background, and I wouldn't have your full attention. So it is good that way, but I think we all kind of still need that human interaction.
Yeah.
Definitely makes a
Definitely.
difference, you know.
Definitely. It does make a big difference.
Great. All right. Well, listen, that's pretty much all the things I wanted to ask you about, but I do want to ask if you can tell folks where they can get in touch with you, if you have a website address or anything like that you'd like to say right now.
Sure. If anyone was looking for me, my name is Hasan Ali, and you can find me on LinkedIn under Atlas Capital Connection. No website. I do everything from LinkedIn. And
Okay.
that's one of the beauties about it. Like just how we had the conversation about using putting LinkedIn behind your name in Google,
Mm-hmm.
right on the first page. I mean, just that, like if you're a very small business and you can't afford to have a website and someone that can do SEO work for you, you can allow the platform to do a lot of that heavy lifting for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great, great. All right. Well, Hassan, thank you so much. I certainly appreciate you and all the work you're doing out there. Let's stay can continue to be connected, and I think we're both considered connectors. So, you know, if I find folks that I can send to you, you find folks to send to me, we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you.
All right, sir. Thank you and have a great rest of the day. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Take care.